Hello, everybody. Hope you're doing great today. I want to offer a few moments just to review and to help guide some ideas concerning case analyses. It's not uncommon for a higher level course or graduate level course to engage in case-based learning. And that's a style, it's a method, it's a pedagogy, a method to teach and to also learn. And so during this course, we're going to have some cases that are available as part of your assessment, but also the learning process. And so I wanted to spend just a few moments talking about cases, why cases are important, but also more importantly, successful methods, I guess, to approach a case that will lead you to find success, not only in this class, but also many other classes where you have case-based learning. And in many cases, the point of a case is to try to interject some realism or some realistic expectations of how you can take information you're learning in class and apply them to a scenario that's either taken place in reality or one that is been created that the case does for you. So cases incorporate then concepts from class and esoteric theories, or theories that don't seem real tangible, and apply them to real situations. So the key here is to think of this connection that you're making and forming between thinking and practice, from again, esoteric to the tangible, and that's an important step. Managers, CEOs, business leaders, leaders of all kinds are faced with problems, and without just kind of guessing at what the best solution would be, you want to use some strategy and some thinking, some critical analysis to arrive at the best answer. So managers have to think critically, and they have to practice that skill set. And that's what cases do. They help you practice the skill set of thinking critically. So they allow you to demonstrate what you know, using what we call, or what we think of as, the highest level of learning and understanding, which would be the ability to think critically. So when you look at a case, how should you approach it? Typically, you're going to want to read a case through 2-3 times and just get an understanding of what the case is about, who's involved, what the central problem is. That's what we typically look at. In fact, this is a model of questioning that I often use. So as you're writing and reading, as you're thinking about the case, what is the problem? What needs to be resolved? So there's tension, it needs to be resolved. What is the problem? What's the issue being faced? What led to the problem? These are good questions to ask and think about. What led or what caused the problem? What's happening in the industry or within the firm in order to that kind of precipitated this problem or got them in the current situation they're in? So what trends might be happening? Next, as you think about the problem and what caused it, think about what possible solutions could exist to manage out of the problem or to resolve the problem moving forward. Now, typically, in most cases, especially from an academic perspective, there are usually multiple possible solutions. So you want to consider each possible solution. If you only offer one solution and that's your answer, then it doesn't suggest that you really evaluated the problem well enough. So you've got to be able to say, okay, here's the problem. There's 2 or 3 things we could do here. Now, they're not all going to be the best thing to do, but they're all things that could be done. Which do you propose? So at some point, you have to come up with a solution. You have to communicate a solution. And one of the things sometimes students do, they'll pick 2 solutions and try to do both of them or whatever. And what we want to see is you choose one solution and explain why that's the one you chose. Again, there might be multiple solutions or ways to resolve the problem, but you need to choose one and explain why you feel like it's the best. Finally, oftentimes we want to think about what the ramifications will be of our decision. Now, certainly the decision's goal will be to resolve the problem, but there might also be unintended consequences. So the pros might be the problem would get solved, but there might be some cons involved as well. And so you want to look at all of those when you're evaluating that decision. And again, it suggests that you understand the problem, understand why it happened, understand how it could be resolved. You made a decision on how to resolve it, but you also understand that there are consequences that may occur as well. Okay, so in a nutshell, that's kind of the process to go through when you're thinking about a case. And that's why I say it takes 2, 3, 4 times to read a case and go through all of these questions to really feel comfortable that you've got the answer that you want. So make sure as you write up your answers, you want to incorporate class knowledge and the strategies that you're learning in the class that you're in. Base your course content, use course content as a base to explain the events that have taken place. As well, your strategy should involve, kind of the things that you're learning from a theory perspective, and justify your answers that you're going to take, the solutions of action, your course of action you're going to take based on some logical conclusions, but also what your course is teaching you will happen. Those are all, that's kind of the idea. You shouldn't be completely blind in your cases. You should take your course content and integrate what you know so far from the course into the solution of your problem. In most courses, when a case is presented, it will often relate to the content and material that you're dealing with at that time. And so logic would suggest that your professor wants you to incorporate course strategy to to find the best answer that you can do. Okay, as you're writing your case, as you would write anything, make sure that you check for grammar, spelling, sentence syntax, all those types of things. When you construct your response, design the paragraphs appropriately, make sure the paper flows. You may use an outline or be directed to use an outline, which is fine. And when I do my outlines, it's exactly the one we just saw, where it's a thinking process where you go step by step by step. There's usually 5, 6 kind of steps to take when you're thinking through a solution. And it's okay to structure your thought process that way, and your response usually. It is for me anyways. If you include visual aids like a chart or a graph, make sure 2 things. One, they support your answer. They're not just there. They actually support your conclusion. The case already has all the information in it, so the professor doesn't need that. They need information that you're providing that supports your decision. That may be outside the case, that may be supplemental information. It may come from the case, but at any rate, make sure that if you have a visual, it has a reason for being there, and also make sure that that visual is formatted properly so that it fits in the text and looks correct and isn't just this weird thing stuck there. Don't rely on visuals to take up multiple pages. That's not going to be very effective for you. And finally here, use proper marketing terms and strategies. Use the correct language. Don't use if you used a proper term in a strategy course or in a class, then use that as the justification for your answer, but use it properly. Do your best to do that. And otherwise, write up a case like you'd write up any other document that you'd be proud to show somebody else, and put a lot of time and effort into it, and things will go well. There's another method or approach. It's called the DECIDE method, which closely mirrors what I usually use and what I've described so far. But there's basically a number of items here going through D, E, C, I, D, and E again to help you remember what these things are. Define, enumerate, consider, identify, develop, and evaluate. So when we get to define the problem. No problem can be solved until you know what the problem is. Read the case at least 2 or 3 times to uncover the root of the issue. Sometimes you're faced right away at the beginning of the case and it says what the manager's dilemma is, but you don't know what's caused the dilemma. You don't know what's caused the problem. You don't know why the problem exists. So you have to understand the background of the problem to move forward. So define the problem. Enumerate the decision factors. And by that, what we want to do is we want to think about, again, all the different alternatives that the decision maker could have or could take to resolve the problem. What uncertainties need to be taken into consideration? What are the externalities that are related to this problem and to these solutions? Now remember, you're not going to choose multiple solutions. You're only going to choose one solution. But you need to know what the alternatives are in order to choose the best solution. So you need to clearly identify options. That's very important when you're doing a thinking problem like what this is. It's like you're a detective almost. C, consider all the relevant information. Again, I can't stress to you enough how much information is in the case. Typically, when you look at some of these cases, it'll have way too much information, and you have to discern what you need to know to solve the problem. So there might be a lot of information that you don't need, but you need to be able to discern what that is. Again, reading the case over and over again helps that. Evaluate only information then that pertains to the problem. So consider relevant information, not necessarily all the information. Identify the best alternative, right? Consider the outcomes that would result from each of the different alternatives that you have. Compare those outcomes and make sure that as you form your decision, those outcomes play a role. And you may have to pick and choose between outcomes, and those outcomes could be negative or positive, right? There could be negative aspects of a choice. And there might be multiple negative aspects, but sometimes you choose the best worst decision, I guess. And that's part of the process of doing this mental activity and this game that we're playing called a case. 2 more to fill out our word decide. D, develop a plan for implementation with the chosen alternative. So with this here, I could even just, instead of develop, put decide the word. Just decide what you're going to do. Decide your chosen alternative. Explain how that's going to work, what it is, and what you would do first. Those types of things. So develop a plan for implementing a chosen alternative suggests that you've chosen an alternative and that you've picked the one that you're gonna do moving forward. And then E is going to be evaluate the decision and kind of the process that you went through. Now that a plan is in place, how will you know that it was the correct plan? What benchmarks and milestones, and what, again, like I like to think of is what are the outcomes that'll happen as a result of your choice. What can you expect to happen? What would you anticipate happening because you made a course change or a direction you went in, or picked whatever solution you chose? Okay, so cases, again, these are kind of like mental exercises. They train your mind. You are as much building a thinking methodology as a graduate student as you are learning material. In fact, I would suggest that your thought process schema as it develops is more important than the information that you're learning. Being able to think critically and analytically about a problem is one of the most important life skills you can ever have. And so if that's something that you begin to develop as an MBA student or grad student or a higher level course in any program, undergrad or whatnot, then you will benefit from the course down the road. I mean, we all learn facts. We also forget facts a lot too. So you won't ever forget how to think, or how to think analytically or in a processed way, if once you learn how to do it and once you practice it. And this too is something that, in closing, it's something that can always be worked on throughout your entire life. I mean, it's not something that just ends. We just work towards getting better and better and better at it the more we do it. It takes practice. So anyways, this is a little short video on this idea of case analysis, why we do case analysis, and best practices when you choose to do a case.